Somewhere on Earth right now, a woman is communicating exactly how she feels about a man, not through anything she's saying, not through a message she typed out, through four very specific parts of her body that she has zero control over when genuine attraction kicks in. And the part that should genuinely concern you is this. The overwhelming majority of men have no idea what they're witnessing. They look right past it every single time. And by the time awareness finally arrives, she's already moved on. That changes today. Here's something that's going to fundamentally shift the way you read every interaction with a woman from this moment forward. Research published in the journal Evolution and Human Behavior revealed that women convey romantic interest almost entirely through nonverbal cues, and they do it an average of 13 times before most men even begin to register what's happening. 13 times. She is essentially broadcasting her feelings in a language that the male brain simply hasn't been taught to decode yet. And here's something worth being upfront about, because it comes from direct personal experience as a woman. Every behavior described in this video is something that has happened firsthand. Most women have done all of it. The remarkable thing is that we often don't realize we're doing it either. That's precisely what makes this so significant. These aren't strategic choices. They aren't carefully planned moves. They are raw, automatic, biological responses that fire the moment a woman's body decides it wants someone, before her conscious mind has even weighed in. What follows is a breakdown of four specific body parts that women instinctively expose, highlight, or draw attention to when attraction is present. The most striking one has been saved for last, and once it's explained, you will genuinely never be able to look at a conversation the same way again. So stay with this, because what's coming is the closest thing to real-world behavioral mind reading that actually exists. But first, one foundational truth you need to absorb. The human body is an absolutely terrible keeper of secrets. Research by Dr. Albert Mehrabian demonstrated that only 7% of emotional communication comes from the actual words spoken. 38% comes from vocal tone, and a staggering 55% is pure body language. More than half of what she's telling you has nothing to do with what's coming out of her mouth. She could be talking about her commute, her weekend plans, anything at all. It doesn't matter. Her body is running an entirely separate broadcast underneath all of it. And if you know where to look, you'll catch the transmission every single time. The first signal, and honestly this one alone is worth everything, is the neck. Not just the fact that a neck exists, but a very particular behavior. When a woman tilts her head to one side during conversation, or reaches up to touch her neck, or sweeps her hair to one side and leaves the side of her neck fully open and visible, that is one of the most ancient and powerful attraction signals the female body produces. Here's why it carries so much weight. The neck is among the most physically vulnerable areas on the human body. The carotid artery, the jugular vein, the trachea. Everything essential to staying alive runs through that narrow column of tissue. From a purely evolutionary standpoint, exposing the neck is a signal of trust. It's the body saying, without words, I feel safe near you. You don't read as a threat to me. In fact, I want you closer. Dr. David Givens, an anthropologist at the Center for Nonverbal Studies, has documented this behavior extensively, describing it as a submissive display, not in the sense of weakness, but in the biological sense of openness and receptivity. When a woman slowly tilts her head and lets one side of her neck become visible, her body is executing a gesture that predates spoken language by hundreds of thousands of years. And there's another layer that makes this even more remarkable. The neck is dense with pheromone-releasing glands. So when a woman touches her neck in someone's presence, she is, without any conscious awareness of it, activating those glands and essentially directing her scent toward that person. Her body is literally attempting to make itself more chemically noticeable to someone she's drawn to. Her endocrine system made that call without asking her permission. From personal experience, when talking to someone attractive, the hand finds the neck. Playing with a necklace, brushing hair back, it happens automatically. It wasn't noticed until studying this topic and then catching it happening mid-conversation at a coffee shop, which caused an out-loud laugh that thoroughly confused the other person and absolutely killed the moment. But that's beside the point. What matters is repetition. If she touches or exposes her neck once, it might mean nothing. Twice, possibly coincidence. 3 times or more within a single conversation? That is not random. That is her body putting up a neon sign. And that leads directly into the second body part, one that almost no man has ever thought to pay attention to: the wrists. Specifically, the inner wrist. It sounds unusually precise, but the science behind it is genuinely fascinating. When a woman is attracted to someone, she will begin subtly exposing the soft inner side of her wrist during conversation. She might rest her chin in her hand with the wrist angled upward. She might gesture with her palms facing outward, wrists open and visible. She might set her hands on a table with the underside facing up rather than down. These are micro behaviors that occur entirely below conscious awareness, and they carry significant meaning. The inner wrist is a pulse point: thin skin, visible veins, high sensitivity. In body language research, displaying the inner wrist is categorized as a vulnerability display. Showing someone the inside of your wrist is, on a primal level, showing them a part of yourself that is unguarded. It's the direct opposite of defensive behavior. When someone feels uncomfortable or threatened, everything closes in. Arms cross, fists tighten, wrists rotate inward to protect the soft side. But when attraction is present, the body does exactly the reverse. Everything opens. A study from the University of Manchester found that women in early-stage romantic attraction displayed significantly more open palm and wrist-exposing gestures compared to women in neutral social interactions. The researchers noted that this behavior became more pronounced the longer the attractive stimulus remained present. The more time she spends around someone she's drawn to, the more her wrists emerge. There's a chemical dimension here too. The inner wrist, much like the neck, is a prime area for natural scent projection. Perfume companies have understood this for centuries. The classic instruction to apply fragrance to the wrists and neck exists because those are the places where body heat meets thin skin and projects scent most powerfully. When a woman is subconsciously angling her wrist toward someone, her body is doing precisely what a perfume advertisement would advise her to do intentionally, except she isn't doing it intentionally. Her nervous system is running the entire operation. A real-world example that illustrates this perfectly. A friend described being on a first date at a wine bar. The conversation was decent, not extraordinary, but she found him genuinely attractive. She didn't realize anything until after the evening ended, when she looked at a photo he'd taken of them at the table. Both of her wrists were turned completely upward, palms open, facing him directly. Her reaction upon seeing it was that she looked like she was about to receive communion. Her body had fully surrendered to the attraction before her brain had even settled on whether she wanted a second date. For the record, she went on 4 more. Now, if the wrist caught you off guard, the third body part is going to do more, because this one is arguably the most visible signal in existence, and yet nearly every man interprets it the wrong way: her legs. And not in the way that's probably being imagined right now. This has nothing to do with what she's wearing or how she looks. This is about positioning, direction, and movement. 3 things her legs are constantly communicating whether she intends for them to or not. Start with direction, because it's the most reliable indicator available. FBI behavioral analyst Joe Navarro, who spent 25 years reading body language in criminal investigations, has stated repeatedly that the feet and legs are the most honest region of the human body. While people have learned to manage their facial expressions and hand gestures with a degree of control, almost nobody monitors what their legs are doing. That makes the legs the body's worst liar. When a woman is attracted to someone, her feet and legs will point toward that person. Even in a group setting, even while she's facing someone else entirely, check where her feet are aimed. If her toes are directed at you, her subconscious has already rendered a verdict, and it's a favorable one. But there's a leg behavior that goes even further than direction: the cross. When a woman crosses her legs while seated and the top leg is angled toward the other person, that is a strong positive signal. She is quite literally directing her body toward them. If the top leg points away, that is a barrier. She is creating physical and psychological distance at the same time. Then there's what can be called the restless leg effect. When attraction is present, the nervous system becomes activated. Adrenaline and dopamine begin moving through the body. One of the most common physical expressions of that internal chemical surge is subtle movement in the legs, bouncing, swaying, shifting weight. If she seems slightly restless from the waist down, that isn't disengagement. That's her body vibrating at a frequency caused by that other person's presence. A particularly deliberate signal, well documented in anthropological literature, is the slow leg cross and uncross. Dr. Monica Moore, a psychologist who logged over 2,000 hours observing flirtation behaviors in naturalistic social environments, cataloged this as one of the most prominent nonverbal courtship signals women display. When a woman slowly crosses and uncrosses her legs during conversation with someone she's attracted to, it is a deliberate, though largely subconscious, display designed to draw visual attention to her lower body. It's movement that communicates, "Look at me," without a single word being spoken. And every woman reading this just mentally scrolled through every date she's ever been on to check if she did it. She did. The fourth and final signal is the one that was promised at the start, the one that becomes impossible to unsee. It is the most powerful of all four because it involves the greatest vulnerability, the deepest subconscious exposure, and the most direct window into what she's actually experiencing: the torso, the front of her body, the stomach, the chest, the physical center of her frame. Before the mind goes anywhere unintended, this is entirely about orientation and openness, and the science underpinning it is extraordinary. When a woman feels safe, attracted, and genuinely engaged with someone, she will face them with her complete torso, not angled away, not sideways, not with her shoulder creating a wall between them. Full frontal orientation, with her stomach and chest aimed directly at that person. And this matters far more than it might initially seem. The torso houses every vital organ: the heart, the lungs, the liver, the stomach. From a survival standpoint, exposing the front of the body to another person is one of the most vulnerable things a human being can do. It's why soldiers wear armor on the front, not the back. It's why self-defense training focuses on protecting the center line. The front of the body is where life is most exposed. So when a woman turns her full torso toward someone in conversation, she is doing something profoundly significant at the biological level. She is opening the most critical region of her body in their direction. She is communicating without words, without intention, and often without any awareness at all that her nervous system has classified that person as safe, desirable, and worth being fully open to. Research from Princeton University's Social Neuroscience Lab found that torso orientation is one of the strongest nonverbal predictors of interpersonal interest. Subjects who were attracted to their conversation partners displayed full frontal body orientation within the first 3 minutes of interaction. Those who were not attracted maintained angled or sideways positioning throughout. And when a woman is both attracted and comfortable, she doesn't merely face someone. She draws attention to her torso area. She might adjust her clothing, touch her stomach, place a hand on her hip, or lean forward so her upper body moves closer. Behavioral scientists call these ventral displays, the act of showing the front of the body as a signal of trust and attraction. A moment from a few years ago crystallized this permanently. At a friend's birthday party, standing in a circle of people, there was someone across the way who was extraordinarily attractive. Not much was being said directly to him, but someone took a candid group photo. When the photo surfaced later, every single person in that circle was standing at slight angles to one another except for one. One person was aimed at him like a satellite dish, entire torso squared up, fully locked on, while mid-sentence talking to someone else entirely. The body had chosen a side. The brain hadn't even been consulted. That's the power of the torso signal. It bypasses everything. Context, social dynamics, whatever she thinks she's projecting, none of it matters. Her center of gravity tells the truth, even when everything else is trying to keep things casual. Now connect all four together, because they don't operate in isolation. When genuine attraction is present, these behaviors cluster. The neck exposes. The wrists open. The legs angle in. The torso faces forward. The more of these signals appear simultaneously, the stronger the underlying attraction. Dr. Monica Moore's research found that women who displayed 4 or more nonverbal courtship signals within a short window were approached by men nearly 4 times as often as women who displayed fewer. But the women who were most effective at drawing attention weren't doing anything dramatic. No grand gestures, no obvious displays. They were doing exactly what's been described here. Small, subtle, almost imperceptible body shifts that most people brush off as meaningless fidgeting. But it was never meaningless. Every touch of the neck, every flash of the inner wrist, every angled leg, every squared torso is part of a biological language that has been spoken for hundreds of thousands of years. The signals haven't changed. Only the ability to hear them has dulled over time. Now you can hear them again. You know the 4 signals. You know what to look for. You know why each one exists. The next time you're in conversation with a woman and you see her tilt her head, open her wrist, point her legs toward you, and face you with her full body, you will know something she may not even know about herself in that moment. She's interested. The question is, what do you do with that? And that question opens something that genuinely needs to be addressed. Knowing she's attracted is only half of the equation. The other half is knowing when she's ready for a move to be made, specifically, the exact moment she wants to be kissed. Because here's something that's genuinely heartbreaking to watch. Most men wait too long. They catch the signals. They feel the pull, and then they freeze. By the time they finally move, the moment has closed and the energy has dissolved. That's precisely what the next video covers. 6 signs that tell you she's ready right now, in that specific moment. If the 4 body parts covered here reveal that she's attracted, those 6 signs reveal that she's ready. Missing them is the single most common reason men lose connections that were already within reach. It's on your screen right now. Go watch it, because the worst thing you can do with everything just learned here is recognize the attraction and then stand completely still. That video makes sure that never happens. Go watch it.